Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 7 of Vlogmas. So today my old high school, my alma mater, actually made it to state championships for football. So me and my family are going out to the football game today, and big majority of my day will be spent in the car and at the football game, maybe, and fingers crossed, hopefully, a celebratory dinner afterwards. And then Anthony is visiting, so I didn't know how much vlogging I would actually get done today. So instead of doing a daily vlog, I'm going to instead do the end of the year book tag. And I got the inspiration for this from my friend Sadie over at Sadie Joyful. I'll link hers down below. She just posted hers like yesterday or the day before that. And she was joking that she's the last person to put this up this year because you're supposed to do it in like November-ish, maybe even sooner. So joke's on you, Sadie, I'm actually the last person to do this. Regardless, let's get on into it. This is the end of the year book tag founded by Ariel Bassett, and there are 6 questions, so let's jump on into them. So the first question is, are there any books that you've started that you need to finish before the end of the year? So I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of catch you up on what I've done so far. So as you know, I've been reading Sarah Dessen's Along for the Ride, an audiobook, and I'm on page 178, which is about halfway through. I do intend to finish this within the next week and a half, just because I always read it when I'm in the car, so it takes 30 minutes to get to work and back, and it took 1 week for halfway through, so I'm assuming it'll take another week through the other half of the book. It tells the story of Auden, whose parents are divorced, so she goes to spend the summer with her father just to spend some time with him before she goes off to college, and he's too focused on work to spend time with her or her new baby sister, and so she kind of is just learning to deal with being alone and all that. And through that aloneness, she meets a guy that is also dealing with that, and together they like form a friendship, and then eventually, I'm assuming, a romance, just because it's a Sarah Dessen book, so I just assume there's always going to be a romance. But it's actually making me very angry because it has a very strong I'm not like other girls vibe. Auden's slowly coming out of that, but there was literally a part where she assumed a girl was unintelligent because her favorite color was pink, and that made me like ragefully angry inside. So I hope it does not continue that way. I do see Auden coming out of those trends, but I'm definitely not going to be keeping this book afterwards. The next book I need to finish is It's Not Summer Without You, but before I can complete this one, I do need to read the first book in the series. As I stated in yesterday's vlog, I just realized that I've been having so much trouble figuring out what's going on in this book because it's the sequel in this trilogy, like the second book in this trilogy. So I guess before the end of the year, I would like to read all 3 in the trilogy. And then the third book that I would like to finish before the end of the year that I've already started is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. I have been enthralled with this world. It tells the story of Aylin, whose brother was assumed to be dead, and then she discovers in a fight that he is still alive, but he's on the opposing side. It's got such a good enemies to lovers trope. The build is like a slow burn. It's so good, and I almost wasn't even expecting it, but it's like taking me by such surprise. I thought Winter Woods was going to break the top 10, but I know for sure this is going to be in probably my top 5. Like, this is incredible. So yeah. So those are the books that I've started this week and do need to finish. The next question is, do you have an autumnal book to help you transition into winter? But as we all know, being in Ohio, winter exists pretty much throughout the year. You can experience all 4 seasons in one day, so it is pretty cold here. But I think the perfect transition book for any time of the year is, of course, our good old trusty Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and or any of the books in the series. But this one, it just has those heavy Christmas vibes, so for me, this is a really good transition, and I'm hoping to pick this up next week and read it. So the third question is, are there any new releases you're waiting to come out? And being as it is the first week into December, there isn't really anything that I'm waiting for it to come out necessarily, but there are a few that either I'm waiting to receive in the mail or hopefully to receive as a Christmas present, and there are 2 of them. So the first one is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which is the 3rd book in the Cruel Prince trilogy, and then the second and the one that I've been dying for and like had my eye on all year, and like freaked out when I found out that it was coming out this year, and I can't believe I didn't pre-order it because I'm a dummy, is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, which is the sequel to Skyward, which is the best sci-fi I've ever read in my life and definitely in my top 10 books of the year. The next question is, what are 3 books you want to finish before the end of the year? And 2 of them I started way back when, but I do want to restart them and read them before the end of the year. The first and the ever infamous one is Descendant of the Crane. I've tried reading this in several different months, and I'm just a person who can't give up because I do expect this to be a good book. I just cannot get into it, but I just got it from the library on my like Libby app, so I do plan to read that digitally, hopefully within the next week or 2. And then the second and third books are Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is so embarrassing that I have not read yet because I read the entirety of the rest of the grouping here, and I love Leigh Bardugo's work, and I actually made it about halfway through this and I was really enjoying it. I have no idea why I stopped reading it. Like, there was no reason. I just like stopped reading it. I think it might have been during Owls or Newts or something, and something else came up. I don't even know, but I'm so ashamed of myself for not finishing this book. And a word of advice to all of you out there: do not read King of Scars before reading the Grisha trilogy. So basically I know how this whole trilogy ends, but I still want to read it. I still want to get into this world, and I cannot believe that I haven't done it yet. The third book is To Best the Boys by Mary Weber, and this was one of my most anticipated releases. I scoured the internet for it after it came out and got the version that was signed, so that was really freaking cool. I can't believe I haven't read this yet. It tells the story of a girl who enters a race or a challenge that only boys are allowed to enter, and it's for a scholarship to a school that only boys are allowed to go for, hence why this challenge is only for boys. And she kind of charades herself as a boy and enters the challenge, and I'm just dying to pick this up, and I cannot believe I haven't done it yet. And yeah, that was also on my to-do list for the end of the year. And then I did want to throw out a 4th book, even though I know it's 3 books. I did want to throw out a 4th book, and that is The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White, and this is an Arthurian lore. Wow, I can never say that. It tells, again, the story of Guinevere, aka the Guinevere Deception. I think it tells the story of a girl who like charades as Guinevere in this world to protect King Arthur or something like that. But I'm super excited to read it. It is the book pick for the Half-Blood Book Club, and I'm just so excited to read it. And if you would like to tune in to our live show, it will be on January 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the 5th question is there a book that you think you can read that can be your new favorite book of the year? And while I'm really enjoying Sky in the Deep, I do think it surprised me and it's gonna take a place in my top 10 somewhere. I do not think anything can top my #1 book of the year, and there was one book that really challenged it, and I considered it being top and like #1 for a bit there, but there's just one book that really stands out to me as #1, and you guys will find out towards early January what that book was, or maybe late December, who knows. But there is one book that stands out, and I don't think anything will top that, but I do think that this is a shocking book that will definitely break my top 10. And the last and final question is, do you have any 2020 reading plans already started? And that is an easy answer, and yes, I do. So I have tons of reading plans. I'm so far behind on tons of popular books. I can't even express how ashamed I am of some of the books that I haven't read yet. So I'm going to do the top 4 series that have already been released, or a majority of them have been released, that I would really love to get to this year, and it's pretty embarrassing actually what these books are. The very first series I would like to read, slash continue to read, is the Cruel Prince series. I do want to reread The Cruel Prince, and then I also want to pick up The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing. I enjoyed The Cruel Prince. I've heard if you didn't like The Cruel Prince as much, you'll like Wicked King more, and vice versa. And I feel like I didn't like The Cruel Prince nearly as much as everyone else, so I'm hoping The Wicked King will pick up. But we will see how it goes. I get the romance, but I don't at the same time. It's too much of an enemies to lovers for me. But I'm hoping that The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing will change my mind. And yeah. The next series I want to reread slash continue is the Three Dark Crowns series by Kendar Blake. I read this book clear back in like March, I think, and I really enjoyed it. I think I liked it more than a majority of people, so I think my feelings towards The Cruel Prince were then put towards Three Dark Crowns, because a lot of people didn't like Three Dark Crowns, and I loved it. Definitely in my top 10. You guys are just getting my whole top 10 in this video, pretty much. But it is definitely a series I want to continue. So yeah, this tells a story of 3 princesses who were born as triplets with powers. One has the powers to control elements, one has the powers to control like animals and nature, and then one has the powers to control poison. And these 3 queens are set against each other to determine who will be the one true queen for the crown. So the entire series I now believe has been released. I think Five Dark Fates is the final book in the series, and I do have that one. I do have 3 Dark Crowns, and then I do have 2 Dark Reigns. No, 1 Dark Throne, but I need 2 Dark Reigns, so yes. Next, and I don't know if this one or the next one is most embarrassing, probably this one, but I need to read A Court of Wings and Ruin. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses and also A Court of Mist and Fury, and they were incredible books, and I can't believe I haven't picked this one up yet. I'm like scared for the series to end because I just love these books so much. So I haven't picked it up yet, and I don't know why, but I do want to reread the others before I pick this one up, just because I want to binge through the entire series. So that is one of my goals for the 2020 year. And lastly, and probably, I don't know, like I said, if A Court of Wings and Ruin was most embarrassing or if this one was, but I want to start. I have never read any of the books in this series. I want to start, and honestly, I don't even know if this is the first book in the series. I'm hoping it is, so I don't look like a dummy, but I want to start the Mortal Instruments Shadow Hunters series, I think is what it's called, and this is called City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. You may have heard of it. I do want to pick up this series this year, or next year, and see what the hype is all about, so yeah. And before I go, of course we have to do our Harry Potter Advent Calendar. So today is, of course, again, day 7. So let's find out who's in here. I'm guessing it's going to be someone in the Golden Trio, so like Ron or Hermione. I'm literally just guessing. I'm going off a pattern because this one was Harry, Triwizards, Harry, Ginny, 2 Triwizards, and then 2 Professors. So I'm assuming that this one might be in the Golden Trio. So let's open her up and find out. And day 7 is my favorite, so, well, the number 7 is my favorite, so I hope it's one of my favorites like Luna or Hagrid, but I do think it's going to be someone in the Golden Trio. I could be entirely wrong, who knows? It's Karkaroff. Well, probably the least exciting person to get in my favorite day, but he's still a really cool little Funko, pretty good detail. He's got his ring on even, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was day 7. That was the end of the year book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day 7 of Vlogmas. And I will check in with you in tomorrow's video. Bye, friends!